So this is the iPhone X, the 10th anniversary edition of the original iPhone. As you can see, the device is completely different from all other iPhones before it. There is no home button. The display takes up the entire screen. So what you have here, it's a 5.8-inch OLED panel from Samsung, and it's one of the best OLED displays on the market right now. Because the device's entire screen up front, there is no home button. So now Apple had to reconfigure how to get around iPhone. So now to go back home, basically you have to swipe up to go home. If you want to bring up all the list of apps, which used to be a double tap with the home button on older iPhones, now you have to swipe up and hold, and then from here you can scroll through your list of apps. So now, unfortunately, because the display is longer, the apps at the top are still very hard to reach, and little things like bringing down a notification shade, it's impossible to do with one hand. So Apple has designed a one-hand mode called reachability, which is also available on older iPhones, but on this phone now you have to swipe down from here to bring the display down. It's an awkward implementation that's not as good as how Android does one-hand mode. To bring up Control Center, you have to swipe down from the bottom, from the upper right notch. From here, you get all your usual shortcuts, such as adjust the brightness or volume, all of that. So now the second biggest challenge for Apple after we removed the home button is how do you get into the phone? On anyone that's used iPhones before or any other phone now, fingerprint reader, right? So on the iPhone X, Apple has implemented a series of sensors up at the top that Apple calls True Depth camera. With the True Depth camera, what it does is it shoots about 30,000 tiny infrared dots at your face, and what it does is it will map a 3D image of your face, and Apple will use that as for identity authentication to log you in. And the result, and it actually works really well. Even though it's still not as fast as just putting your finger on a fingerprint reader to unlock, the result, it still works almost 97, 98% of the time. And getting into the phone is as easy as tapping on the screen to turn it on and then look at it, and it will unlock right away. And from there, I can swipe up to go into the home screen. So this True Depth camera system also allows the iPhone X to map your face and then turn your face into an animated emoji. So you can turn yourself into an animated dog, an animated cat, an animated piece of poop, and whatever facial expressions you make, an emoji will move along with it. So now, because Apple put a notch on the top of the phone that cuts into the screen, when you watch full screen videos, it actually gets into the way. So there's two methods you can watch full screen videos. One is you can watch it with letterboxing, which are these black bars, or you can force the video to fill the whole screen, but then you see the notch cuts into the video. For the most part, it doesn't matter because the content you're watching is in the middle anyway, but sometimes if you're watching a basketball game or a group or a video with a lot of people, it does cut into content on the left. So this problem also affects apps. So the good news is most apps have already been optimized to work with the new iPhone X aspect ratio and the notch. So Instagram, for example, fills up the whole screen. Facebook fills up the whole screen too. But if you go into Gmail, for example, it does not. And you notice that there are these giant black bars at the top and the bottom of the phone that really, it's kind of ugly. And it makes this iPhone X look like an older iPhone. And then the screen is smaller too. So text is a little bit harder to see. So same with Google Maps. Google Maps is not optimized. So you click on Google Maps, again, huge bezels at the top and bottom. Complete dead, empty, wasted space. But if you go into Apple's own maps, then you see that it take advantage of the entire screen. So the good news is Apple being so popular, apps will eventually adapt to this new screen setup, but it might take a while for smaller companies, or if you use local apps. So in Hong Kong, if you use a Hong Kong bus app, it might take a year before they optimize the app because, the Hong Kong bus company isn't that tech savvy. So watching videos on the iPhone X, it's a great experience because the OLED panel is beautiful, and also this phone has two speakers, one from the right, one from the earpiece, so for a true stereo experience, and the volumes actually gets pretty loud. So sound is really good and bass is strong too. So this is a very good display. So on the back of the device, you have two 12 megapixel cameras, the usual setup that's seen in the iPhone 7 Plus and the iPhone 8 Plus. So, and the camera tend to produce very well balanced, very accurate photos with really good details. This is definitely one of the better mobile photographers out there. Images come out very crisp and vibrant generally. But the star of the show in terms of photography for most people this year will be the selfie camera, because of the true depth camera up front that can detect your face. What the iPhone 10 can do is it can shoot bokeh mode now in selfies, and also do this thing called portrait lighting. So what you can do is you can choose the different lighting to, when you take selfies, to simulate like an effect of you're getting a professional headshot done, and the results are quite impressive. So this is it for the iPhone 10 video review. As a first generation device, there are little bugs that Apple will probably improve down the line. This camera bump right here, Apple will probably get rid of by the next iPhone. The one-hand mode can definitely be improved, and just general usability. This control center up here on the upper right side, it's impossible to reach if you're using the phone with one hand. So these are all things that Apple will probably improve down the line, but for a first-gen device, this is excellent, and this is definitely the future of smartphones. This is the iPhone 10.